Hello, crafty friends. Tonight we're going to make a cute little birthday card using this older stamp set I have called Birthday Delivery. I just love the little characters here. There's a wolf and a little girl and an adorable poodle. But tonight's card's going to feature this little baker, pastry baker kind of guy. So let's get started. Let's go over what I used. A normal card base, just a white normal size card base, which are, when you fold them, 5.5 by 4 1/4. And we're gonna make this one horizontal. I have to keep remembering that because I usually do vertical cards. And then for our layers, I have, I believe this is called Balmy Blue. And this is gonna be a 1/4 inch less. So it's gonna be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then go another 1/4 inch less for our patterned paper. So it's 3 3/4 by 5. And these will layer on top of each other like this. And these will layer onto the card. Now, there's 2 ways to do this card. I'm going to show you maybe both of them. We're going to have a circle here that we're going to stamp our sentiment on. Now, my first idea was to layer my card stock and then the pattern paper and attach it to my card base and then use a die cut to cut out the circle. And then I will use the blue cardstock that came out when I cut that out. When you cut this out, you get a white piece from the base, the blue piece from the cardstock, and you get a patterned piece as well. This turns out to be a little difficult to cut through 3 layers using the die cut machine. So another way to do this card is to simply layer the cardstock, then the pattern paper, then cut out a separate circle and adhere that there. So both ways, both cards work okay, I think. I'll show you the cutout kind, since I do have one that came out good. And then you can imagine how it looks without the cutout. So let's get on to our stamping. I guess I should say for this circle, I used the Spotlight on Nature dies, which are a series of circles that nest inside each other here. And I used this one, which is about 3 1/4 inches in diameter. And it's got a little design on the edge. So that gave me the pretty little cutouts that I think looks a little bit like cake decorating. All right, so for our sentiment, we're going to use Azure Afternoon, which is a little bit darker than the Balmy Blue. And I'm using a Happy Birthday sentiment. So this one. And you'll see it's gonna look like the little baker guy is just finished writing this when we're done. So just going a little bit darker. Got a really nice image there. And then I am going to use Memento, black Memento, to stamp my baker. I guess I should give him a name. I think he's he's French for sure. I think he's an Henri or maybe a Louis. Just such a cute little character here. So I am just gonna stamp him on a piece of cardstock. Actually, I already have him stamped here. But let's get a new image here so you can see how adorable he stamps. He's got all this little shading on him. All right, that's perfect. And then I'm going to stamp the cake. There's a very fancy cake. I guess you would say it's like a 3-tier cake. We're gonna be cutting this out and coloring it in, but I'm using one of the circles that came out of my die cutting adventure. Just a good way to use this up. All right, and now we are going to be coloring and cutting, fussy cutting these little designs. And I didn't grab my stamp cleaner, so I'm just going to set those aside for now. All right, I believe we're done with the stamping, but I reserve the right to go back once we get into it. All right, so for my cake, I'm gonna use blue, like coordinating blue pencil. I tried to get as close as I could to the ink color of the happy birthday. And I am just gonna color in some of the parts of the cake. It'll be a mostly white cake with some blue accents. You can picture kind of the blue frosting, and we're gonna put blue frosting into the pastry. Well, it's not really a pastry bag he's holding. It's kind of, I don't know, a little pastry, a cake decorating device. It kind of looks like, I think, what is it called? I have a cookie thing that looks like that. It's called a cookie shooter. I don't know. You probably know what I'm talking about though. All right, and then I'm gonna go around the bottom as well with the same blue. Just using colored pencils. You could use markers, you could use paint, anything you want to color these in. And then I'll do each of the candles a different color, but I'll do one in blue. And then I think I will do a little green for the flowers or leaves. And we'll do one of the candles in green. And then I'm going to do a red candle. And a purple candle. And then got some yellow for the flames. And for the little tray, I'm just going to use some gray. We'll pretend it's a big, beautiful birthday cake on a silver platter or a gray platter. All right, and then for my chef, he doesn't need a lot of color. I'm gonna use the gray and just go around shading on his white hat. Gives it a little bit of dimension. I'll do the same on his white coat. I don't know what you call a baker's coat. It's not really, it's not an apron, right? What do you call that? A chef's coat? He just looks so classic. I like this old-fashioned kind of look. All right, and then let's give him a red scarf to have a punch of color here on the card. I think this is a little bit of the scarf that goes behind him there. I think we need a little bit of the gray for his mustache. And then I need something sort of flesh colored. How about dusky taupe? I don't know, that looks a little dark. I think it's the best I've got. So he's a little, oh, I guess that looks okay. Skin colored for sure. Yeah, that looks fine. And then I'll do his hands. As well. And now I'm going to use blue for his frosting. And I think if you wanted to do the exact same thing in pink, maybe for a girl, or any other color, you could just coordinate the color of the word here and the color of frosting in his little frosting device. That's what I was thinking anyway. So now let's see. Well, I already cut him out, and I would cut out this cake. So let's do that quickly. I think when this stamp set originally came out, it probably had dies that go with it. But I bought it from somebody, and it only had the stamp set. Every time I see a new to me stamp, whether it's new to everybody else or just the first time I've seen it, I kind of sometimes can't resist. So the little wolf on this is adorable, and I will probably make another card so you can see that. But the challenge that I found this week was randomly pick a stamp you already own and make a card with it. So that sent me to this stamp that I had bought but never used, and we're gonna make a card with it. All right, so now I'm gonna tape this down. It's actually gonna be taped to the inside of the card, but I want it to fit perfectly in that circle. I'm using this double-sided tearing tape. Make just a few pieces. You could use glue. This is what I have sitting next to me, which oftentimes is how I determine what adhesive I'm using. I've been doing a lot of traveling crafting, you know, getting together with friends somewhere else. And so I keep filling little bags with scissors and adhesive and inks, and then I come back and everything's not on my desk. Okay, so that's there now. And now we're gonna put this little guy, line him up so the tip of his frosting gun comes right to the end of the happy birthday script. And he's getting stuck to the front of the card while the cake is actually on the inside of the card. So kind of close it, line it up there. And it looks like he just finished writing that, doesn't it? And then I'm gonna put this other cake down here. I think that looks good. You could go without the cake because he's just adorable enough to carry it. But I think the cake is nice too, so let's see. Just a tad more and we are almost done. That's how simple this was, except for cutting through three layers of paper And then I'll find a little bit of bling, just to add some bling, I think, in here on top of what's the birthday. But there you have it. Beautiful card on the front. And then when you open it up, a really happy birthday sentiment with a little bit of space up here and down here to write. And you can do the same thing, very similar design, would be easy to make by just layering your cardstock, the design paper, and then, you know, a separate cutout circle. You can put your cake in. I don't have another one of the little guys cut out, but you would put him there and it would be a gorgeous card as well. Well, as usually happens when I go looking for embellishments, I come up with a new idea. So I was looking for just a couple of little gems to put down here. But I came across this metallic enamel effects paint kind of thing that I have. And it actually looks a lot like frosting. So I think we're going to try this. We'll try it on my practice card. This is just like a little squeeze bottle of shiny paint, if you will. So it looks a little bit like frosting. And I'm going to put this on my dots. And then I'm using a silver color. So I might try to put it on his buttons as well. You can see it just dots down really nice. And it's going to add some shine, while kind of keeping in the look of the frosting. Yeah, I think that's actually pretty cute. So let's put it on his buttons as well. There, I think that actually adds a lot to the card. I like it on my practice card, so I'm going to go ahead and do it on my final card as well. Now, when you use this, you do have to set it aside and let it dry for a while, because it takes a bit, more than a few minutes. Maybe I'll probably actually leave it overnight before I try to touch it. But you get a good amount of dimension and shine from this. And I have this in several colors. I have let's see, what do I have? I have a copper color and a gold color and a red, black, and the silver. I think these come, I must have one more that's not here. Because I think these come in 2 separate packs. Yeah, I must have one that's not here. There's probably a white. I think these come in 2 separate packs with like the gold, copper, and silver, and then the black and the red. And I'm guessing there's a white one somewhere else in my craft room. So let's give this a try. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, should I try some gold on the cake candles? You have to just squeeze very lightly and just dot it down on your project. That looks great. Actually, it looks really good. I'm glad I found this. I was going to put some blue gems, but I like this a lot better. And then I feel like I had another cake. Yeah, I do. I have another cake here. I think I'll try the gold on it and see if I like it. Might be kind of hard to get just the right amount. Not that hard. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that as well. Well, this was a happy find. Was not what I was planning, but I like the way that came out. All right, thanks for joining me. Let me know how you like this card.